Yeah. We saw some old pictures before, and just like the old mic on the new mic.
I missed if I'd have known the old mic, man, that's a different story, man. But it's like, yo, even with, I was watching like the struggle thing with like the show Joe Budden used to be on, and the Nadeska look a little pale.
Right?
Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on, bro? I'm like, you know what I mean? You play on that side, you play on that side. Like, you do certain. I feel so good about being me that I can like be clear and like be the only clear motherfucker on the planet. And be like, yo, this shit is the wave. Like, nothing better than being clear. Like, if that's what I do, like, nothing better than being 6'10". I don't care what you do. You can be greater than me in your mind, but it's like, I love being me so much, and I go through a lot mentally. Like, that's what, like, the Black Cloud is a passion, because I go through so much thought-wise. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, yo, I just love being me, man. The ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, I just love it. Like,
and I love the fact that you, man, like, cause I figured, obviously, you know what I mean, like, for someone to create that, I felt like obviously you had to go through it. You know what I mean?
right.
And I related with you so much because, you know, my shit, therapy without a degree, like, yo, it's therapy for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, going over these topics a lot of times, yo, it's huge therapy for me, because a lot of the shit, yo, I've been through, go through, I get to express myself. I probably said more real shit on here than I've ever said in my whole life.
Right.
So I was like, damn, like, there's someone else that's doing kind of that exact same thing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, taking all that struggle and that pain and that black cloud, and you realized that you're not that.
Right.
And you realized, that's so dope that you realized that you are what emerges from it.
Right.
And it shows that you realize how great you really are.
Yeah.
And now you want to showcase that with the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful.
I appreciate that, man. I thought the same thing when I saw Therapy Without a Degree. I'm like, yo, that shit sounds just like what I'm doing, just in another lane. Yeah, just another lane. Like, that's just, it's the same. But that's why I feel like Black Cloud brand is so relatable on so many levels. Like, I feel like to me it's limitless and it's timeless. Like, you can do so much with it. Like, to me it's bigger, like I said, it's bigger than the brand. I love the logo, I love what it stands for, and then you realize, like, there's people who are bulimic that are no longer bulimic. That's a Black Cloud. Everything is like, everything you have to get through in life could be seen as a Black Cloud. So it's like, what better way to put my fashion into, you know what I mean, my passion. Like, it just goes together for me. Like, it makes me feel good that people even like it. Like, because I didn't think that after basketball, I didn't really think I had too much to offer. I knew I could be great with kids, but it's like, yo, but how, like, what's that going to do for me? You know what I mean? Like, I want to do something that I'm a little bit more, like, I can help kids out more if I have a brand and I have a business where I can be like, you know what, like, I'm going to donate $1,000 this way and do it the way I want to do it versus like working somewhere.
And do you feel that, you know, I think it gets to a point, you know, in life when you start going, when you get to a certain age maybe, or you get to a certain level of shit that you're like, damn, like, I've been through this so much that I have to help people with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was my whole upbringing, you know, like, I have a 10-year-old son and he lives in Kansas, and that shit, it bothers me because I work with kids. So that's an everyday Black Cloud that I won't get through until I have my son and I see him every single day. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to help kids because when I was a kid, bro, I grew up pretty rough, and I can remember being a kid who didn't talk to people and didn't have any friends and couldn't sit down with my father and talk about certain things because he would be on the road. He was a security guard, or a bodyguard for like Bad Boys, so he was like on the road, and I'm like, yo, I can't display my feelings with anybody to the point where I feel so cold inside. So acting was the best thing I can do. Like, that was getting out some of the frustration and shit like that. So I'm like, yo, if I could, yo, that's why everything revolves around being a kid. Not only because I love kids, because I was the kid who needed love. So it was like, that's where it started from.
For sure. Talking about, you know, your upbringing, and you said you have a son?
Yeah, I have a
10-year-old
son, yeah.
Growing up, the way that you grew up, do you feel like that, I'm sure it did have an effect on your parenting, but what kind of effect did it have on your parenting, and then the way that you are working with kids now?
I try to talk to them and understand them a lot more. I feel like growing up, especially like I think in the urban or the inner city, like nobody sits down and have conversations with their kids about how they feel and what do they want to do and give them like choices that like they can feel great about. It's like, you're gonna eat this or you're gonna eat that. And it's like, damn, I don't fuck with none of that. You know what I mean? But it's like, yo, you like that? This is good over here too. It's like, which one? Like, we don't do that. So I'm like, as a parent, as a mentor, as an adult in the in the school setting, I try to be that outlet for them. I let them get a voice, and I feel like that's hard for a lot of people to do because you get bossed around all day and you get the boss kids around or boss somebody around. You like, I'm the boss. I'm like, yo, I don't want to boss no kids around. Like, they don't even know what they doing. Like, you know what I mean?
You're in as an adult, you're in a position of power over them. So that you know, the voice that you have, that's a privilege in the sense that you know, the things that you say hold a lot of weight.
Right.
You know, and then also having a positive adult figure in their life. But you have mentioned, you know, like growing up in the urban environment, you have it's hard to have certain talks or feel certain feelings, and almost as if it's like how you say, we're protecting ourselves, you know what I'm saying, from feeling certain things. But then those traumas induced from childhood, we're still adults. We still have those traumas that we still have to deal with, you know, because earlier you had talked about how, you know, you can't escape that, right? And then it's like this, like that would essentially be coalescent with saying like this continuous black cloud that's like following you everywhere. So dealing with those traumas and dealing with those black clouds is definitely something that I take away from the brand. Is like, you can't run away from that. Like, no matter where you go, it's gonna rain. You know what I'm saying? So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna figure out how to shield yourself from the rain, or are you gonna walk through it? You
That's
know
so crazy. Ironically enough, yo, like every time it rains, I don't think I've ever used an umbrella.
I don't use an umbrella either. I love that
like,
shit. I'd be like this.
Pouring, bro. If I can wear a hood, I'm winning, bro. If my arms covered, I'm not even getting wet. Like, the clothes got to deal with that, but I'm personally not getting wet from the rain.
Yeah, as long as I have a hoodie, I'm set.
Yeah,
like, I really don't care.
Car in the rain. I went car shopping in the rain. I was outside looking at
Just
the
turn
man.
up.
Like, fuck it, bro.
I'm a
like,
puddle jumper.
a puddle jumper.
I'm a puddle jumper.
I walk through the puddles, man. I don't care, man. I wear high boots, man. We good.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
umbrella
Like,
man in here, though.
Umbrella?
Yeah,
Alright.
he is an umbrella kind of guy.
Matt walking through the
Can't
rain.
like,
Yo, he be
Shoot
trying,
up
he
umbrella.
be trying, he be like, yo, stay close to me. I be like, I'm fine, like, okay.
suit yourself. I got the umbrella. Suit yourself.
yeah.
When do you feel like you noticed that you want, like, the black cloud was just something that, you know, a lot of us go through, and that you are the greatness that's coming out of it?
When did I notice that?
Yeah. Or maybe what thing do you feel kind of just like broke that?
That's a good question.
Because you had to realize it, and I bet, you know, it comes and goes sometimes, and you forget about it. There's a lot of us do. You know, a lot of times you forget and you're thinking about the black cloud, but you know, at some point you realize that no, you are what.
I don't think I ever not knew, but it was like I guess when I started working in schools and being around kids, I realized kids don't, like, if you don't tell somebody a story and they meet you a certain way, you know what I mean? That's what they know you as. Like, we go outside, like, they gonna know you from what they first meet you or first impression. So every kid knew me from being, yo, this is like the coolest big brother I ever had. That cool ass uncle that's gonna let me, you know what I mean? Like, that's the man. I'm gonna stay with uncle. That's who I've always been. Like, I've always been the cool coach. I've always been the coolest teacher. I've never had to be the stern one. I never had to be the bad cop. You know what I mean? And that's not who I am. So it's like, once I got around kids, it was like, yo, like, I don't gotta be that bad person. Like, I've done bad shit. Like, I don't have to be that though, cause they don't know that. When they see me, if they see me doing something bad, like, oh, you're doing something you've never done. I'm like, yo, I do this shit regularly. Like, I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? But it's like, they don't know that. It's like, yo, like, they can't. So I'm like, yo, I can be better than this. Like, I can be way better than this, man. So that was like, and maybe I was 23, so 7 years ago. So
I think kids really do it for some people, man, in some type of way.
right.
They bring that out. They bring that out in you. You know.
I mean, you should, man. I feel like, you know, man, like, if you do music, for instance, Like kids love music. A kid gonna tell you if your shit suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then even then it's like, yo, a kid might really want to do music. So no matter how much you suck, they don't hear that you suck. They see somebody doing something they love.
Exactly.
Yo, that's big, man.
It is.
That's
And
big.
It inspires you a lot.
That's
And
big, man.
you know, I relate to that as well too. My stepdaughter. You know, like, so I definitely do. And she helped me get out of that black cloud and realize that the black cloud was just
That's
temporary.
dope, man.
You know what I mean?
Kids,
Things
kids
like
are
that.
amazing, bro. Kids are the best thing in the world, man.
So on the topic of kids, let's talk about vulnerability. Yeah, the level of vulnerability I think that you have to access in yourself to deal with kids and to really be yourself.
Right.
I feel like that's a really high bar. So you know, I know that you tend to get a lot vulnerable in your posts. And I think it's useful, honestly, because like you know, I'm of the factor that if you are yourself, like the people that don't align with you, they just gonna be like, all right, cool, they're gonna move away.
Yeah.
But like when you're being authentic to who you are and like your values, right, and what you stand for, your beliefs, those people that rock with you are gonna rock with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because your opinions in public are the same as those in private. So
Facts.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the level of vulnerability that you like that allows you to connect with kids. How do you bring that into your brand and apply it to like the posts that you make to kind of not reel people in, but get people to think about things in a different fashion?
I look at it like, at first it used to be like, yo, I'm treating my Instagram like every kid that I know is gonna watch this shit. So let me be careful what I'm doing. Then I'm like, yo, you know the type of shit kids are watching when they not looking at my shit?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, let me just be the real, like, the person that I am. Like, let me, like, authenticity is so big to me. It's like, if a kid knows me for this, they're gonna know me when they go to my Instagram. They're like, he not playing with this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's for real. Don't get me wrong, none of my kids in my school know my Instagram because they're creeps, bro.
Yeah.
They're like
Better
different
to
level
not.
creeps. But like kids that I've coached, like they're growing up, they're like 17, 18,
Yeah,
and even
I
some
think
of the
that's
other kids at my old school knows, but never at my current school do I allow kids to be on my, because it becomes a work thing.
For sure.
Word.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, you go, man.
No.
She said
Now you
you
got the
go,
fire.
man.
You got the
Oh
fire.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming from the heart.
That's
Yeah,
coming
word.
from
because
my
I
heart.
got the because I
She
watched
gave the
it.
chest bump.
Yeah, I'm like, is my
official.
heart on this side? It is on this side.
So long as it's in there, it don't matter what side it's on.
That's
You
right.
got one, man.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, I have a 3-year-old at home, man, and I think about like, you know, it's not like I never had this softness in me, but it wasn't until after I had her that I started remembering certain things about like my own childhood.
Right.
But then also realizing that I had dealt with certain traumas that I didn't want to not push onto her, but have that trickle down. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because you know, first I had to deal with like my own mental health, my own sanity.
Right.
So having dealt with postpartum depression after I had her, not telling anybody about
Right.
that was a
Try to bottle it up.
yeah, and it was because there was I feel like a big portion of like that bottling up, it has to do with shame.
Right.
And then kind of just like putting on this front for people is like, oh yeah, you happy all the time, like especially like in the world of Instagram. I feel like it's so easy.
Always boils down to perception.
Yeah, perception, you know, because we spoke about that earlier, is having a certain perception of things. So people are going through your Instagram and they really only seeing this.
Yeah.
They're not seeing the stuff that's behind and all around and all the different things that you're going to, like what Joe was alluding to, you know. So what's something for you that I guess hasn't been asked, but a story that you would want to tell that you feel like really embodies who you are as the creator of this brand?
A story that embodies who I am as the brand. I think the biggest perception was, I used to really want to be in the streets, and I didn't know why. Like I thought, like, and I feel like that's a lot to do with like kids even these days. Like yo, I know that like growing up in West Orange, like I'm growing up around mixed race, everybody, because West Orange is a beautiful place. But at that time I didn't know, so it was like, yo, you black, you from North, you gotta be the toughest. And I'm like, yo, alright, word, yo. But that shit put me in the box so hard because I'm like, yo, I'm in the newspaper every day, but I want to be in the streets too. And it's like, yo, the people who I was trying to impress wasn't the people to impress. And it's like, yo, it took me forever to get out of that mindset. It's like, don't get me wrong, I love people that are in the streets. Like, I love people that are in the streets as far as like not what they do, but their family, their friends. So I'm like, yo, I love you. But it's like, yo, that shit don't work for me. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work for me.
long term.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't work out for me. So it's like, yo, I gotta get to a point where I feel good, bro. Like my whole thing was it's crazy because I'm like, yo, let me hang out with these street niggas. I'm gonna make it to the league. I'm gonna make enough money where they gonna be like, yo, you didn't put in no street work, right? But we gonna listen to everything you say because you the only motherfucker that made it out. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna get to a point where I become an OG or something, and they gonna have to really, really turn this shit the other way. Where it's like, yo, I don't even want nothing to do with the adults. Let all the kids that's from this neighborhood, that neighborhood, fuck with me, so we can all get them right. Y'all gonna do what y'all do. Y'all got y'all mind made up. That was my plan, yo. And I never told nobody that. Like, to this day, that's my first time ever verbalizing that. Like, yo, I really wanted to always be this person, but always gravitate to the kids and get them to be like, you know what, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. Whenever I get in a position, it's gonna look like, yo, like he fuck with everybody I do. But I want to fuck with everybody to the point where you let your niece and nephew listen to me.
For sure.
I take them out of here. Yo, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I played basketball and I went away a lot. And it was like, yo, you know what it looks like to be in fucking Pennsylvania at 13 years old and come back home to seeing the most fucked up foul shit, you know what I mean? Like, granted, I lived in West Orange, but I still lived a certain type of way. But just thinking about the kids that I dealt with that went to my school and kids deal with shit that adults can't face. That's fucked up. So I'm like, yo, one day I'm gonna be able to change all of that.
That's
What
powerful.
happened with ball? My bad.
No, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
what
tell us
hap-
about that too.
Yeah, ball. When I went to Villanova, yo, I went there lazy as fuck. Like, my mentality was just like, yo, I'm too good to work out. I never was disciplined. Nobody never made me do anything. I made decisions on my own. So when I went there with this shit like, this shit too hard, but this all I know. I'm not, like, the perception was I'm not giving up, but at the same time, I gave up already. So I kind of just slowly got out of it, up until, like, I went to 3 schools, and after my 3rd school, I just left, bro. Like, I'm like, yo, fuck this school. Like, it was bad. I was in Kentucky. It was just like, oh my God, I never seen so many Confederate flags in my life. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared.
Yeah.
Like, being in Kentucky, I was scared. I was really scared for my life. So when I left, I'm like, fuck ball. And then when I came home, it took me a couple years to even really be like, yo, I'm going outside. You know what I mean? I'm going outside to do something different with my life. Now I start coaching, and after like 7 years of coaching, yo, I got signed to a professional deal to play ball. So
Where at?
in Norway, it was cool, but my head was still fucked up a little bit because when you don't really, like, if you don't admit to being depressed, yo, when that shit hit hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, that shit hit me at the wrong time because if you look outside right now, bro, that's how it looked at 9 in the morning until like 8 o'clock at night.
Over there, right?
Yeah, when it hit a certain
Yeah.
time of the year, yo, it's dark.
So can we talk about that a little bit? Like, you know, I mean, I know if you don't want to talk about certain
Nah,
things,
go
you can
ahead,
just let
go
me know. But what you were just describing was what we call the seasonal depression,
Right.
really. What was it that was like that put you past that turning point where you were like, no, I am clinically depressed. There's something here that's not clicking. It doesn't matter how much I do, how much I work out, or whatever. This cloud ain't going away, and I have to deal with something internally, like on a mental level.
Another failed relationship. That was like a thing. Like, it was I was going through a relationship while I was there in Norway, and I was really like, oh man, like, yo, like, this 6-hour difference is fucking me up, and it was going downhill. Like, so I'm like, yo, after that relationship, when I came home and I realized, like, yo, I just did almost a year in another country living out a dream, and I don't feel no better than when I left. I actually felt better when I was a gym teacher than when I played professional ball. So I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, you know what I mean? There's something really, really wrong.
It's not wrong. It's just sometimes We think certain things would be better for us than what they are.
Nah, but that was the thing though. When I went to Norway, like the feeling, like when I was going to Norway, everything was smooth, like everything was cool. But then it got to a point where every time I hit this certain wall, I make everything about somebody else and not myself. And it just so happened I had somebody to put that blame on. Like it should be easy for you to leave somebody that you know is not like for you. Like it should be easy for you to do that. But for me, it should have been because I knew I didn't want to be with this girl.
Exactly.
I knew that, but I was like, yo, like this shit making me down. It's making me depressed. I'm like, yo, that ain't how I'm supposed to feel. You know what I mean? Like I'm not supposed to feel like that. So when I finally came home, I dealt with her for a little while longer. Then I left it alone. You know what I mean? And then after that, it was like, yo, what are the things that make you feel better? And it's never a girl. Like you know what I mean? It's never that. So that's when I realized, like, yo, I gotta focus on certain things. And even then, like, I got myself into another relationship. But it's not. I don't ever blame anybody for anything anymore. And I think that was a part of growing because I used to blame everybody for everything.
Yeah, I feel like it takes a lot, like a big level of self-reflection, and we talk about reflection a lot on the show, but like to be able to admit to yourself like there's something wrong here and I have to dig deeper and I have to really figure out where, because with mental health I feel like I truly think it's a trickle down. It's a trickle down, like that rain is a trickle down, you know, because you might have certain things going on with your mental health where, for instance, you're dealing with things internally and maybe you're not even realizing, but you're taking it out on other people. The way you're talking to them, maybe the way you're talking to your kids, the way you're eating, the way that you're coping, right? Our coping mechanisms, and our coping mechanisms can either be detrimental or useful. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of keep, and a lot of times I feel like we learn our coping mechanisms through just the way that we grow up because we're not exposed to other things. And we're dealing with the coping mechanisms maybe that, you know, somebody else gave to us, and we have to realize that maybe that's not the right way to do it. Maybe I don't need a cigarette to feel good. Maybe I have to do something else. You know what I'm saying? I gotta drink water or I'm gonna die. You know where that's gonna come from. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, all these things are like an amalgam of becoming a better you. You know, and I think that all leads back to your brand in itself is becoming a better
I think, honestly, yo, like, I'm not gonna say I have wild ass beliefs, but I like to say I look at things a lot differently than a lot of people. I'm a firm believer that, like, you're born into a family in order to, you guys can work well and gel together, and everybody could just blossom and you'll have that one fuck up in the family. But everybody could be fucked up. Not because you're supposed to be fucked up, because no one's learning from this experience. Like, life is an experience, bro. Like, I'm a firm believer that we're here on a ride. Like, you know what I mean? I volunteered to be here and live a physical life. You know what I mean? So as an energy, as another force, like, I can be great because we all have potential to be great. But it's like, yo, you have to look at the things like, yo, all right, this piece doesn't fit there. You can get frustrated with the piece not fitting there, or you could take your fucking time and figure out why the piece not fitting there and where it belongs. And I don't think we do a great job as people on a day-to-day at, like, trying to really get our head into the game, so to say. Like, let me figure out what's going on. Like, bro, I for like 2 years when I first turned vegetarian, I didn't